Self-improvement is growing as we speak because a lot of young men have realized that these easy times have made them weak and without a purpose. It is rising with more and more people joining the movement, and I was no exception. My self-improvement journey started more than 1 year ago. It was the time when I finally decided to start training. You know the story yourself, which is why I'm not going to tell you much more about it. But what I really want to say is that this was still the best decision of my life. And it started because of set reasons. The times I lived in were so easy that I didn't have to do anything really. School was really easy, I didn't have much problems with that. And at home, I wasn't even challenged really. I just played video games, I just watched porn, I just ate a lot of junk food and that was it. And that was day in, day out. My life was empty, and so was I. I didn't have no emotions, no passion, no motivation. I didn't have no purpose. And that reflected in how I behaved. I didn't care about anything. I didn't really care about my friends. I didn't really care about making new friends, about interacting with people, about even achieving something. You know what my life was going to be like? I just said to myself, I'm just gonna go through school, get a good job, and that's it. That was my plan. I didn't even have real passion to get really successful because I was empty. I did want nice cars. I did want to have a beautiful wife. I did want to have all of these things that people dream about. But I knew that the work to get there would just be too much for me. I realistically said, I wasn't even ready to put in any work. You know what stress was for me? Losing in a game of FIFA. That was the most stress, the most motivation I had to do anything really. Everything above that, I was just crying, hiding in the corner, going back to all of these simple things like social media and sweets so that they can comfort me and lay me in a nice zone where I'm free of everything. But as the years got on, even this zone where I was in, it was boring, it was empty. I lived through it over 100 times. I was at that point, you know that point yourself, when you've played so many video games that they are not even fun anymore. I had a multiple of video games, at least over 50, and I wasn't motivated to play any of them. I wasn't even motivated to play video games. One of the easiest things to do in the world. Well then you don't know anything about League of Legends because it's bro shut the f*** up. You know exactly that video games aren't the challenge that you're looking for. And it's not anything that's gonna bring you further, that's gonna develop your skills, or that is in the end even going to make you happy. It is a quick fix to a quick problem that you had, and that's it. But if you look on the long timeline, it won't do anything for you. And that was the exact realization that I had as well, and that was why I started my self-improvement journey. And the best thing about it was that I realized it when I was young. 15 years old to be exact. I know that there are people who started at 13, even 10 years old, and I'm jealous of them, but I'm still happy that I started at such a young age, because this has given me such a head start in front of everyone that it doesn't even matter if I do a big mistake, if I waste the first year of my life pursuing the wrong thing, because it doesn't matter. And that is the first thing that I want to tell you. When you start really young, and I speak under 20 years old, even 22 years old, it's not gonna matter that much if you make a mistake. Yeah, sure, if you're over 18, then you have all the responsibility on yourself. And most of the time, especially with your parents, they will still protect and serve you so that you can go out in this world not being completely lost. And if you don't have that, well then life will start for you earlier, which is another reason why you should start now if you're really young. You don't know how much you can achieve in 1 year, neither did I. And here I am, having built a body that I dreamed of, having a YouTube channel which I couldn't even imagine half a year ago, having read a book almost every week, meditating for 30 days daily, and I could go on. I have such a big list of personal accomplishments that I've collected over just 1 year. And again, you could say that this is just a big flex, and it is, because I can be proud of myself of what I achieved in this 1 year. And guess what? This is exactly what you can do. If you do it right, you can crush the things that I've done in 1 year. Because I didn't do it perfectly. I've made my mistakes. You know, I was in that time when I tried this, and this business model at the same time. And guess what? I wasn't making any progress. But now that I've made this mistake, I know that you have to really focus on one thing, which I will also make a video about. I just know that if I didn't make this mistake earlier, if I started at 20, 1 year of my life would have been wasted. So if you start now when you're early, when your parents are still paying for everything, when they're taking responsibility for all the mistakes that you make, you will just be in a safety zone while being able to work on yourself. Imagine the people that are 22, 25 years old. They have to go out working. They don't have the freedom to use their free time as they want to. Because some have jobs that require them to work outside of their workplace, to work outside of their strict working hours. And they also need all the basic things as you: sleep, food, shelter, and these things cost money. So what they end up being is being trapped in a job, being trapped in the system that they've put upon us. That they have to earn money to get through their life and to just not die. And with you starting early, you don't have these problems. You don't have to pay any expenses, or at least not much of them. And the best thing is, as I said, when you make a mistake, nobody gives a shit. The thing is that if you make a mistake, your parents will comfort you. They will take over the responsibility of the mistake and of the problems that you've gathered upon. And you can just start anew, as if nothing happened. Sure, maybe you lose some money along the way because you've spent it on something that you really thought was gonna work out. But in general, you're not gonna lose anything. What you really are gonna do is just take out the experiences, the information out of this happening, that you can just take them on to yourself without actually having to confront all of the problems. But don't get me wrong. In this time where your parents will comfort you, where they will say that you don't yet have full responsibility, you will have full responsibility. And if not, you're gonna have to develop it. Because what happens with a lot of people is that when they turn 18, their parents just throw them out. And they're standing there alone, outside, with life confronting them with the hard truth. The hard truth being that you now have all of the expenses. The hard truth being that nobody really gives a shit about you anymore. The hard truth being that you have to do all by yourself. And don't be angry at your parents for that. If you would think about yourself and your children, you would also want them to grow up in a safe environment, where they learn step by step but won't get overwhelmed by all the problems and the stress that they're going to encounter. And that is the same thing with your parents as well. Either your parents grew up in said place where they were just safe, where they didn't have a lot of problems, and want to give you the same life experience that they had, or it's the exact opposite. They grew up in a war, they grew up in poverty, they didn't have a good life. And now that they can work, that they can earn money, that they can live in a safe environment, they want to make sure that you don't have to go through these same problems that they had, because it was just horrible for them. That is why you have to take on the responsibility yourself. While your parents will push you out a little bit so that you'll learn how hard life is going to be, they will still keep you in a safe environment where nothing is really going to happen. And when you look into the future, I'm sure that you want to do the same for your parents as well. When you look ahead, you will see your parents being 50, 60, even 70, and you will see that they still have to work. They're not gonna get any rent. They're not gonna have enough money to go into rent, to go into their senior years and stop working. They won't have much money to do that, because today, money isn't really worth anything anymore. And as time goes on, money will be worth less and less, and the rent system is going to crumple down into its own parts. So when you look ahead, your parents will work longer than they planned they should, will just break their whole body apart, and they won't be happy doing it. But they will still do it, because they first of all want to live themselves, and second of all want to give you the good life experience that they either had or never got to live themselves. So one big point why you should also start at a very young age, or just as fast as you can, is to get financially free. You have to do it for your parents. You have to do it for your future family. You have to do it for yourself. What financial freedom does is make you free all around the world. With money, you can do almost anything that you want to. The only thing while your parents really go to work is for money. It is to pay their expenses, it is to get some nice things, and it is to get money to finance your good lifestyle. So what you need to do is to get onto building a business, onto making money, so that you can pay for yourself, for your future family, and for your parents, so that they don't have to work in their shitty job anymore when they're 60. And as I said, especially now that you're younger, it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter if you lose money. You are still in this safe, protected zone, and you have to use that. Because if you don't, if you wait, if you live your life, if you gather experiences, if you are still being a child, then you will lose out on this advantage and will stay there when you're 20, don't have any money, and your parents are crying about it to you that they still have to work their shitty job as they turn 70. That is one of the big drivers that I have, retiring my father before he's 60. He always tells about it, how he has to work until he's 65. And every time he talks about it, inside I have to cry. Because I know that as of yet, I cannot free him from his demise. And it is the biggest motivator along with the future family that is motivating me to get financially free and to get the best version of myself. And when you've clicked on this video, you are either in self-improvement already or are consuming a lot of content without actually doing something. And either way, you are so far ahead in front of 95% of the people all around the world that this message may be the only thing that you really needed to get started. I want you to make an exercise with me. Close your eyes and then think about your parents, your loved ones. Maybe it is even your grandma and your grandpa. Think about the people that you love the most. Best thing is, if you already have a girlfriend, if you already have a wife, a family, think about them. And then think about everything that they need to live their life as they could. They will need money, right? They will need a strong man to support the family, to save them from problems, to get them through life. And guess who that person has to be? It has to be you yourself. And if that is not enough motivation for you, then think about everything they have sacrificed for you to be here where you are right now. I mean, when you're watching this video, you either have a phone or a computer, and they have bought it for you. And if you're a bit older and you've bought it for yourself, then think about your whole childhood, everything that they've done for you, the school that they've put you in. They maybe even moved city just for you to be in an extravagant school, in a school with better teachers, with better kids, with better parents who can then help and support you along your way of education. Think about all the pain and suffering that they had to get through. Maybe you were playing football, and every Thursday evening they had to drive you to the football pitch. If it rained, if there was a storm, if it snowed, it didn't matter. They still did it for you. Think about everything they've sacrificed for you. This will be the biggest motivation that you have to get started right now. And I have another example. Think of Hamza. Think of how big he is, how much money he earns, how he looks, and what he has achieved in his life. It does look perfect, right? He has a following of thousands of millions of people supporting the same thing he does. He has become a leader. He has become a person that many people look up to. And when has he started? At the age of 23. He has started at 23 years of age. Now imagine how much you can do if you start even 1 year before him, when you're 22. As I said, I have achieved so much in this 1 year, and you can do the same. And now imagine if you've got 1 year more, 1 year of more experience, 1 year of having built a business longer than he did. You can achieve so much with just 1 year of more experience, 1 year of more work, 1 year of more practice. But let's go down a bit more. Let's say you start at the age of 19. You've just moved out of your house, your parents kicked you out, and you're standing there all alone. Now imagine if you now start your self-improvement journey at the age of 19. You are 4 years ahead of Hamza. These are 4 years where you can earn more experience, where you can build your business longer than he did, where you can scale it, where you can use all of the compound interest to skyrocket your progress into another level. And then when you're the same age as he is right now, at 26, you will see that you've actually achieved more. Or think the other way. With these 4 more years, you can be more relaxed. You can do more mistakes. You can gather more experience along the way than Hamza did. He was probably under a lot more pressure than you are right now, because you're still young. And it doesn't matter if you're 16 or 24, you will still live to a higher life expectancy than your parents. Even if you just live till you're 60, you have still more than double of your current lived years ahead of you. And just look back how much you've done in these years. How you've learned reading, speaking, playing in a sport, maybe interacting with other people. Just look back at how much you have gathered, how much experience, how much practice, how much social skills, how much of everything you've gathered around these years of your life. And now imagine these years again, but with a structured plan, with a goal ahead of you. You will crush everything that you did in the last years. You will need half the time to achieve the same success that you had over the past years of your life. So it is definitely the best time to start now, because the later you start, the more people are going to be ahead of you. And as you know, life is also a game where people, especially men, fight amongst them to decide who is the most successful, the most attractive, and overall the most masculine man among them all. But you can also take this as your advantage. Now that self-improvement is getting really big, that a lot of people are also jumping onto the train, there are a lot of communities where like-minded people like you gather themselves, mentor each other, exchange their experiences, and in general just grow together. So if you start right now and get into one of these communities, you will already have a brotherhood of people around you so that you can all grow together to another level. And to give you such a community, I have opened one myself. Click the link in the description to join my Discord server, where I will be online myself and where like-minded people like you will gather together to fight problems, to rise among all the other people and to be very successful in their life. As I said, the first link in the description, join it right now. And if you're still not dedicated to starting your own self-improvement journey and are overall just procrastinating a lot, then watch this video right after. Always keep your focus on your purpose. See you next time.